Let me get this thing started. Let me see. Mic, get the camera, get that. How you been?
Man, I just been blessed. I just been, you know, dealing with a lot of stuff, but trying to stay, losing weight, and all kinds of stuff, man. Just taking care of family.
Yeah. I just want to let you know that I think there's maybe a 5 second delay on your show.
Oh, it's a 5 second one.
Yeah, it's a 5 second delay where I'm trying to see. Yeah, because I never used Streamyard before. I'm always used to Zoom.
Yeah, me too. But for some reason, since I haven't used it in a long time, it just like started freaking out. It's asking me for all these weird shit. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Let me. I've seen that other people had used this one, so I'm like, you know what? Let me try this one. And I mean,
Yeah, there's things I'm going to be doing. We'll talk about it. I'm good. Let's let you know I'm good on time. Don't even worry about it. If you want to talk about what you've been up to, conspiracies, I mean, it's going to be a good show today because I rarely do podcast episodes.
yeah, and this is I haven't done podcasts in a while. Like I think what, like over a year, maybe.
Hmm.
And you're actually the first guest because this is basically season 2 that I'm doing. So you're the first guest, So you got the honors of cracking the ice, basically, for
and,
season 2.
and we're going to talk about all that. Taking a break, what I learned, the situations. I mean, the ups and downs of podcasts. What's been going on in my life, things progressing, parting ways. Because everything evolves around my son. Like how I am now is because we'll talk about it. Situation, got in a stroke and all. Because I didn't think we talked about that, huh?
No, like I said, you mentioned some stuff, but like I said, I've been wanting to get you on again because like a couple days ago, I think it was last week, I was, because every time I go to work, I drive like more than an hour. So
Yeah.
back from work, and I was, you know what, let me revisit my episodes, and yours came up, and we were talking, man. And I was like, damn, like we had a good conversation, man. Like, you know what, we need another one of those.
Yeah, and it's always going to be a good conversation, and just to catch up on things. I don't know if we're on right now. Are we starting or I'm
Yeah, yeah,
ready?
yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, like we're already on, man, and like I said, a good episode, like I said, and I did a little intro, you know what I mean, earlier. But like I said, I could do another one. Ladies and gentlemen, I got the one and only, the infamous Mega Man. You know what I mean?
What up? What up? Mega Man, host of Long Beach Social Experiment podcast. First things first, people want to know how come have you put it any episodes out? Well, the reason why is that I am banned on Rumble, YouTube, um, Amazon Music, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and I probably not going to be doing podcasts until next year, hopefully until my ban is up. They say next year, 2025 of May, but the thing is, everyone's doing their own thing, but for the social media platforms, the podcast platforms, they're making an example out of anyone because people are not watching CNN TV anymore. If you want your raw news, it's going to be podcasts. And I'll give you an example. Look what's going on in the UK right now. If you post anything, you will be arrested. That's what's going to be going on over here with the new AI and what they're doing for Instagram or for Twitter or anything. You can't say anything, even certain words AI already knows. So I've been shadow banned probably like 30, probably 40 times. There was a time I lost I they deleted my account and I had to go sign an NDA and sign an agreement to get my Instagram back. Cost over $1,000. And they said, hey, if this happens again, we can't help you. Like you're on your own. And that's what's going on. So I used to post a lot of like cool ass stuff, but it got to the point I was in a row doing podcasts, and all of a sudden, my son has a stroke. And all this drama, everything you're gonna see, we'll talk about later on the show. But it, everything went downhill. I was on top, getting my podcast out there, but when my son had a stroke, not knowing it could have been COVID, could have been anything, it just my podcast went downhill, and that's when I was looking for answers
Yeah.
because knowing the fact how big pharma is and using us as guinea pigs, hey, take the vax, and all that. But my kids did it. I want to look for a cure because look what's going on. Inflation, everything's going high. People can't even afford anything to buy groceries, go to the hospital, dentists, and all. So I was looking for remedies. So that's when I started looking to see because my son has canatonia and it flares up from time to time. And I was looking for cures, from Dr. Sabi. And that's when I went on this rabbit hole, going down the rabbit hole, like looking for cures from Dr. Sabi or what should I do. But it's the stuff that we eat, like you're working out, I'm learning, I'm probably going to start working out probably next month, but I wanted to get all the information I can. It's like what you put in your body, we're eating junk food, we're eating tacos, we're eating sodas 24/7. There's gonna come a time your body, your stomach, they're gonna tell you like, yo, I need a rest. We're eating too much, and all the glucose and all the metals, the everything is not good for us. And that's why it's hard to see what's good and what's not. Of course you need your proteins, but when you have the governments are buying all these farms, they're gonna put their chemicals and anything that they can do to kill us because it's a depopulation. There's 9 billion people, and you got to remember the Georgia Guidestone. When someone blew it up, says, "Hey, we got to be at 500 million people." Now it kind of makes sense with a little conspiracy about the Marvels with the Avengers, Thanos. I just saved your life, just like that. People died off, but you know what? Humanity will live on. But who's going to be that person to make those harder decisions? So now you're seeing all this stuff going on. You're seeing chaos. You're seeing wars. It's all money. It's all money. Now you're seeing like, man, it's crazy. And I start going down these rabbit holes after my son had a stroke. And you know what? I haven't looked back, but it really opened my eyes on a lot of things, how I see the world, how I see life, but also how I see podcasts, because everyone is addicted to views, clouts, and numbers. My podcast to me is a journal and a diary. I don't see me like getting out there and making a name and getting millions of views because the more attractions, the more people you have, the more problems you have. And there's some crazy stuff going on in a lot of these Latino podcasts. They're into their feelings nowadays.
What I was what you were saying about the podcast, because we've been getting a lot of people, that they do podcasts, right? And
Mhm.
like you said, they looking for the numbers, which is fine. It's okay. Like if you could get paid for it, if if you could get something out of it, that's fine. But what 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 a lot of people are missing is that if you do a podcast, if you have a podcast, if you talk about something, you gotta also, like, have people like learn something from your podcast. You know what I mean? Like, don't
Mhm.
talk shit. Don't just fucking say dumbass, fucking stupid ass shit. Like you're saying right now with the food. Like, there's a lot of food that we think is good for us, but in reality is fucking bad. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
where we gotta choose. Like, you gotta be aware of what the fuck you're eating, because you're thinking you're doing yourself something good when actuality, like, you're fucking hurting yourself.
Yeah, and that's the thing, when it comes to food, when it comes to social media, when it comes to certain podcasters, when it comes to people or negativity, you're going to know these things. And for you and I doing podcasts, we can read the room. We can read people if they're really true or not. And you just have that energy. And that's what I've been doing. I've been parting ways with a lot of people. And there were a lot of downfalls because I figured they're bullshit. But the thing is, we live in a time people can't own up. what they did. They keep on digging a deeper hole. I don't entertain it. But the thing is, we're in the year of the sign of Aquarius, the revelations, the truth, everything's coming out. And that's why, in a way, it's like a lot of these platforms that I was supporting back then were no good. You're not getting anything. And yes, of course, when you're a podcaster, and you and I, people want to know, what am I getting from this episode? What am I getting from this podcast? Am I learning or I'm not? And that's one of the things I had to do. It took me a year and a half to part ways with a lot of people, unsubscribe to a lot of podcasts, because what they're doing is they're giving you an influence of negativity. And that's where I cannot do. I'm tired of it. And that's why I got a lot of shit from a lot of Latino podcasts, because I called out their bullshit. And it's getting to the point now, there is certain podcasters are in their feelings and they're finding your address. They're doing this, they're doing that. But the thing is, it got to them because the thing is, what I learned, which it took me a while, if I was to go back knowing what I know, I wouldn't have any relationships with any of these people. You got to keep it professional. So here on out, what I learned, we don't entertain the bullshit. Let them cry, let them bicker what they want, but you got to be professional. So what I've been doing, since if I do get my band uplifted from the IG police or the podcast police, we have our new ideas. Okay, if people like you or anyone else watching this, when I do my show, I want to talk about different stuff and it's unique, and I want people to look for it. What really sucks when you see the comments, oh, that's not true. Oh, I don't. Well, the thing is, I know you went to school, but now with social media, you get the fucking raw shit. And what I've been doing is, I've been going on fucking like the free speech rumbled. Rumbled is hardcore.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I mean, because I mean, it's cool sometimes to fucking you know to you know to entertain some of the shit that you see. It's at a point, you know what I mean. But it's getting to a point where, like I said, people do anything, man, for fucking clout. People do anything just to fucking get those views. You know what I mean? And like I said, if you don't build a foundation, you know what I mean, you're not gonna last. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you get the clicks, you could get the views, you could get whatever you want, but how long are you gonna last in this game? You know
It's
what I mean?
hard. It's hard. If you're gonna have those bumpy roads, and when you're on top, and you know what are you gonna choose, podcast or life? But with situations, again, with my son and my family, sometimes in a way you got to put podcasts aside. Okay, this is what I learned. Now let's see if I can use it in life. And it's been cool with me. Long as you're holding it down, you're working, you're staying in your lane, you're not entertaining the bullshit, the negativity, you're focusing on family, you're just seeing life. Because the thing is, there's a Netflix everyone should watch. It's on Netflix, called Social Dilemma. And it talks about all that. People are on their phones. They're addicted to their clout. And we're all into World War III. We're not talking about our countries. We're having a war with AI. Kanye talks about this. We're in World War III. You have the government, you have the schools, and now you have the elites, and now you have social media controlling our kids, their influence. So who is really the father and the mother? It's the social media, it's the phone. So there has to be a balance. So what I've been doing is trying to be less on my phone and being more with my family. Because the thing is, when people are like, oh my God, I got 3 likes. Oh my gosh, this is going viral. Click, I'll say this. If the power grid was to shut off everything, I'll be cool with it. I'll be like, okay, I get more shit done. But if people are addicted to social media and cloud, I never seen it. It's like crack to them. It's like people are just they're doing some stupid ass fucking shit to the point it's very downgrading. Very, very downgrading. And you just see there's no morals these days in this world. Nothing.
No, like I said, I was saying the other day, I did it was like a little episode But I was asking people that if people like parents, I know I don't have anything against newer parents, like this generation parents, but I was asking people, are like, are you guys still, keeping those, how when we were younger, we had those traditions, right? Like your grandma used to tell you, hey, put some Vicks on your chest, or your mom, or you know, you had a like Christmas, get together on Christmas and
Yeah.
traditions. And nowadays, like I said, for the past years, I haven't seen like I don't see that much. I don't see it
Ye-
that much because
eh,
what I was
yeah.
asking people, are you guys still keeping those traditions going, or
It's
it's
hard.
way at some point, like the world me and is it's not gonna exist no more. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's gonna be like in the past, like fucking like the dinosaurs kind of shit.
I mean, there's shit's going on, but it all goes back to the nuclear family. The breadwinner was the husband, and the wife would stay home, take care of the kids. But now with the elites and the governments, like, hey, to the ladies, like, we'll give you all that, but we don't want you to have a man in the house. So when you don't have a man in the house, what's going to happen when the kids grow up? Violent, always emotional. But where did they get that from? They get that from their mother. All the stuff that you see around, all this violence, if the kids are all acting up, all fucking getting into trouble and all that, the first thing I'm gonna say, where's that kid's father? But a lot of the times, a lot of fathers, it's kind of like 50-50. They just want to fucking go, or are you gonna be a man and step up to raise your kid? And if you raise your kid right, he's not gonna fuck up where you see all these other kids doing, like, for videos and this whatever. But that's why, in a way, it's like a lot of fathers and parents should be having their kids on social media early. But at the same time, kids are just so emotional these days. You can just say something and a kid will just come up and blast you. There's no codes. There's no how it used to be with the OGs. It's like that shit's out the door. It's a free for all. They don't give a fuck. Even though you teach them, they just they don't want to learn, but they want to learn. Their mother and father. I'm sorry to say, it's social media. It's their phone. There was an incident in Florida of a black guy, a high school kid. I guess the teacher took the phone away from him, and he knocked her out and kept on hitting her in the head, and she's knocked out face first, face on the floor, and he's still beating her up because the teacher took that kid's phone away. And now he's going to be serving close to, I don't know, like 15, 20 years in prison. People are just dying over a phone. Like, give me your phone, because they're not listening, and you're a teacher. Like, fuck, man, at least in a way learn something. But whose fault is that? It's not the teacher's fault, it's the parents' fault. If you're going to go to school, have your phones. But everyone's on their phones more than they want to learn. What do you think in the way in the educational system, which is founded and owned by the Rockefellers? They teach you the basic stuff. And what are you really getting out of life? Nothing. They're just going to teach you the basics. But a lot of the kids these days are YouTube savvy. They know everything. It's like, oh, I didn't know about this. And this is one of the reasons why they're always saying, oh, there's a Saturn flare coming, a solar flare coming, not Saturn. Oh, power grid. They just want to shut off social media because people are waking up to see, whoa, we're being impressed by the 100 families who control this planet. There's 9 billion people and there's only 100 families. And if we do take control, because people are going to think I'm weird on this, then we'll go back to the golden age. When people say, oh, God's coming back, he wasn't saying like, oh, God's coming back, Revelation, Jesus coming. He's talking about our conscience. Once we wake up, we'll go back to the golden age, and we'll stop being slaves. Oh, I gotta pay this bill. If I don't do this, I get fired. If I do this and do this, it's all controlled by the Rothschilds.
I was thinking too. Have you seen that? I'm pretty sure you've seen it. That movie, The Book of Eli. With Ben.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was thinking the other day. I was like, 'cause sometimes I just like, I just black out and I just like think a lot of shit. And I like imagine the way the kids are now, that they need the phone, the Wi-Fi, all that shit. Imagine it if in the future it is like that. Like, what the fuck are they gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have your phone and you're so used to it. Can you change a tire? Can you make a fire? Can you do this? Because what happens is, again, if the power grid shuts down and you're so used to your phone, how are you going to get help? How are you going to hunt? Do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to kill a bear just in case if you're trying to get food? I mean, just all that stuff. And that's one of the things. If you're savvy on social media, then you should be savvy in life, in reality wise. You know, people, oh, you never been through it. For me or you, we're like the OGs, but we've been through a lot of shit. And reality wise, the new kids these days, these Gen Zs and all that stuff, they just like, oh, we just see it on YouTube, but we never lived it. So that's why you see all this chaos. It's like it's all about clout, clout, clout. Again, the Netflix social dilemma, it talks about it. It could be good, but also it could be bad because now with social media, you see a lot of people committing suicide of bullying. It's pretty bad. And the thing is like now with social media, with those kids and those mothers who are on OnlyFans or they want to be all looking out sexy. You know, when the kids grow up, the kids they'll be like, "Oh, I know your mom. I used to jack off watching her OnlyFans," and it's gonna be like that, and you're gonna be like clowned on. Like,
Yeah,
you know what's really sad? Like ASAP Rocky is married or he's with Rihanna. They have two kids. And you see on the comments, ASAP, you're a fucking simp, dog. You a beta. Like, your fucking lady Rihanna, we don't know how big's her fucking body count, and you just got the leftovers.
yeah,
And you're
it's
gonna
crazy.
live with that. Like, all everyone be like, oh, Rihanna, oh, she slept with this guy and this and this, and they're gonna be bullying their kids down the road.
Hell yeah, man. You said something earlier, like something that made me think too. That you said if I knew back then what I know now, like on this podcast thing, like what would Mega Man do different if you had all this knowledge when you first started?
Stay in your lane.
Then you're like,
Stay in your lane. What I learned from all this, when you know a lot of people, when it comes to comedians, actors, council people, the city, social media, your neighbors, your small pop-ups, I mean everyone. You have to put people in certain tables, in certain categories. And you
hmm,
got to talk to them different. And knowing what I know, when it comes to podcasts, when you keep on doing that, how they say 10,000 hours, 10,000 speaking to audience and all, you're going to weed out those types of people who are real and not. But just stay in your lane, communicate, and keep it a minimum, which means if people are gonna say, "Oh, Mr. Pog, Mega Man, I want to be your friend. I want to get to know you," no, we're good, man. I want to keep it professional because when you get too close with them, that's where problems happen.
yeah,
And I notice now, and I don't know why, but I was a hard head in the beginning, but now I know there wasn't that much podcast at them because I did podcasts like 7 years ago, so now it's way different. But now we have over close to 300 or million, 300 million different types of podcasts around the world. Hey, man, go do a podcast and everything. But back then, I had to learn as I go. And of course, you're gonna have your ups and downs. But at the same time, I just noticed with when it comes to Latino podcasts, you gotta stop being emotional and you gotta stop calling people out on their bullshit and all. And there's a lot of envy and jealousy. And that's one thing. I'm gonna say this real man to man, real talk, or any Latino podcast or Latina podcast. We're getting clowned on by a lot of the ethnicities who do podcasts. And say, man, you guys have some good topics, but man, you guys are always in your fucking feelings, emotional. And the thing is, I want to learn why is men so emotional these days? They have problems. You want to speak out, and if they have nothing to talk about, must be a slow week. Let's go talk shit to Mega Man, just for the fuck of it, just for views, clouts, and numbers. And but the thing is, you're burning bridges. But also at the same time, there's people putting their business out there, and I'll be guilty of this. I've caught some motherfuckers out and put their business out there, not doing it because that's fucked up. You're being hateful is because I'm looking out for me. I'm looking out for everyone else so they don't get fucking burned. Because in the beginning, when I started a podcast, man, there is people burning other podcasters just to get to the top. You know, that whole thing goes crabs in a bucket. It's true. And that's where, if I was to go back, just do my own thing. Don't bring a lot of heavy hitters like I used to. Guess, and now it's just more of when I do the podcast now, I want to bring someone different because the thing is, if you're considered a podcaster, what type of podcaster are you? I don't
Yeah.
want to be in a category. Hey, Mr. Pod, Mega Man, you're an awesome Latino podcast. That means you're putting us in a bubble. I don't want to be in a bubble because I've always been universal, and that's where I always get out there and diverse, and that's why in a way a lot of people think like, oh, Mega Man, you're complicated, you're weird. No, I see things different than you. You may know more things than me. I more may know more things than you as well. But it's all about learning. We have the technologies now. We have the AI. We have the social media. We have the podcast. Instead of bashing each other, because I've seen this for years, we should be uplifting. And we're not talking about rasa unit. I don't want to hear that. Okay, I don't want to be stuck in that bubble. That bubble. I want to be me. I want to be different. You know, I don't want to be like talking about the same old thing. No, man, either you keep up with the present and the future. I don't want to be stuck in the past because there's a lot of Latino podcasts that are always stuck in the past talking about the same old shit. And that's how you lose numbers. And a lot of people unsubscribe because they don't want to hear regurgitation. And I'm just keeping it 100.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people, like we said earlier, that people listen to podcasts and they listen to podcasts, and sometimes, like I said, most of the people, they want to learn something. They want to see, like, let me see. They're tired of, like you're saying, like the just following the same fucking the road of all the podcasters. Like, all right, we're gonna fucking, we're gonna talk about this dumbass shit. We're gonna, like stupid shit, and people
Yep.
are, what, ah, that's the same old shit. I wanna see, I wanna hear something different. I wanna learn something from, because there's a lot of people too. Like, we're saying that, everybody's following the fucking the clout train or whatever, but there's
Exactly.
people too that they don't want to be following that train. They're looking for people like us, that we're seeing the reality still. We're still seeing, like, hey, all this shit, like the AIs, the fucking, like we were talking about, like the foods and shit like that. Like, people still want to fucking learn because, like I said, it's getting too crazy that everybody's forgetting where the fuck we're coming from or what the fuck is really going on. Like, we're stuck in this clout fucking circle that we're not seeing nothing that's like the reality outside this circle. They're
I remember in the COVID times when we were all starting, everyone was at that time tired of it, having cabin fever. I want to better myself. I want to uplift people. People were in that kumbaya. With me, well, I was like, I was in a crossroad. When I was doing podcasts, at the same time, I was thinking, hold up, I got all this time. It's gonna take years, but let's see and find out. I started working on my weak points and my strong points. And there's one thing I wanted to do before I die. I wanted to see if I can stop this generational curse that's been going on with my family. And that's one thing, is like, hey, I don't want to have this curse continue with my kids. So I wanted to better myself. I'll say this respectfully, I love you, mom and dad, but I surpassed you 100 times fold. They did their best, but there was problems with them that it latched onto me, and I had to deal with all that stuff. When it comes to a shrink, mental awareness, I did all that stuff. Counselors to see, nothing was, it wasn't phasing. I was like, I'm still going to be the same. That's when podcasts came into play. I wanted to talk about myself. I wanted to vent. I wanted people to understand me, because you got to realize, why was social media really invented for? For you and me to get to know each other so there won't be no assumptions.
mm,
Fuck with the people who fuck with you. I want to get to know Mega Man. Oh, this is what it's about. Cool. I know his thinking. Oh, this is what Mr. Pock's all about. Oh, I know his thinking. Like, look at, I seen your page and I'm proud of you. You know why? Because you're getting out there. I see you working out, dude. When you're working out, you're in the best shape in your life. You don't have a fog mind. You're like, yo, I can conquer the world. That to me, that's all respect because we all want that. We all want to be at peace in our heart. Either it's from podcasts and life or it's working out. You gotta find something that motivates me or motivates you. And that's when my the situation happened with my son, I started going down these rabbit holes and I started learning about life and conspiracies or UFOs or Anunnakis and Antarctica because I was intrigued because we weren't taught like this in school. So what was the government really hiding from us to tell us, hey, this is how the world started? And that's why I've been so fascinated of learning about history, learning about knowledge, because I just want to learn something that's going to make me a better human being, a better husband, a better father, and just do my part to give back anything in the world or in life uh, before I die.
Yeah, man, and it's a good point that you said earlier that you say you want to break the curse, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you say it hurts, but sometimes you gotta cut off the family. Even though it hurts, but sometimes family members are the ones that are pushing you down or pushing you, holding you back, and
Mm-hmm.
hey, let me break that curse. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying I don't love you. I'm not saying I don't fuck with you no more. But I need to get out of your life, or you get out of my life for a while, so I could fucking take care of mine. You know what I
Correct.
mean?
That's just how it is. We're still cool. We'll say hi, but there won't be, you're, again, when you figure out your family, but also friends, but also your social media friends. Got to
Yeah.
be careful with that as well. Like, there's people who I had fallouts with because now these days, I'm sorry, you got to do background checks on people. You got to see what's their motive. And there was a time where I had a lot of cool ass friends, but when I saw what their motives were, I'm out. You can say whatever you want. You can talk shit about me in the episodes and all. Views, clouds, and numbers doesn't matter. But if I saw something and I don't fuck with you no more, I keep it away. If it's negative energy or there's people who are flippers who play both sides, I'm telling you, this podcast game, you see all this crazy shit what's going on right now. I guess shouts to the homie Hoodstock Lucky.
Yeah.
He was calling out a lot of individuals, and there's one who I don't support, but I'm not going to give him that shine. But with the other podcasters I know personally, or I support them and all. But it's just like it's envy, it's jealousy. It's like people are gonna say what they say. I tell Lucky, you be you. I want everyone to be ourselves. I don't want everyone to be in a certain category because if we're in a certain category, then we can't think for ourselves, and we don't the people want their show how they want it. So that means in a way we can't be free thinkers because you have a show, I have a show, and I want my show to be this way, but it has to be this way. Like it doesn't work like that. So that's why I always say you be you. That's how you want your show. Stay like that, and all these other channels. But when there's always bickering and fighting and stuff like that, it just got to the point. It's like I'm just maybe in a way God was looking out for me. It's like, you know what? I want to put you on timeout because maybe there's going to be some problems down the road, and I don't want you to be involved because you got to remember, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. It's true. I've been seeing, like I said, well, in the past years, ever since I met you, like I said, you've been going through a lot of shit. Like that,
Hmm.
people you in the back, people talking shit, people you thought that they were your friends, people that you thought that, you know, they wanted to create something with you. Uh, I just gotta salute you, man, because it's like it takes a lot for you not to fucking like just explode and and do crazy shit. You know what I mean? Jeopardize
Yeah,
what you got going on just for fucking stupid people that.
and you know what? When I see people, I'll say, let's start from here. Yeah, you're right. I was crazy. I was speaking my shit, but you know what? For what? Look what's going on. Like a person got shot up or this person got beat up, just all for clout. We're talking about people want to be in their feelings, the emotions. Now these days, you can't even talk to people. People are too highly emotional. You don't know if that person has a knife or a gun, would kick your ass because he doesn't like you. Because the thing is, of course, people are going to talk shit to me, but you're watching, but you're looking at this podcast video of us. There's always
Yeah.
going to be haters. The haters are your number one fans, but the thing is, I don't entertain it. It's just, you're used to it. I got, when people hate on me, I had the FBI watching me. I had the Mossad, it's like the CIA of Israel, watching my stuff. I get shadow banned. I got blackballed because I spoke my mind, but I didn't change it. I'm still who I am. But now, all the stuff that I was talking about back then, we're seeing it now. And those people are gone. People are saying, oh, you don't support Black Lives Matter. Oh, you don't support the LGBT. I have family who are LGBT, gays, lesbians, trans, and all. I'm cool with it, but they don't like the agenda, what they're pushing in social media. It's like, what the heck is this? And, like just talking about some real stuff, and people just don't like it, but you're watching. You're coming on my page. You might say, hey, Mega Man, I'm going to follow you. I don't like you. But I always say to them, I'll see you next week. And they're like, why? Even though you unfollow me, it's crack. You're going to fiend for it. And you know why? Because I always check my stories. And you go scroll all the way in the bottom of your Instagram and your stories. Those people who didn't want to fuck with you, who want to follow you, are still looking at my fucking shit. So in a way, I won.
Yeah, because I mean, there's another thing that I've learned, from podcast or being like I said, like being on social media. You gotta have fucking thick skin
That's a fact.
because there's a lot of people that they want to be on social media or they want to do the podcasting, and then people criticize them or people tell them something and they just like vanish, like, oh, like, fuck this, I'm not doing
I
this, I'm not
I
more because he told me I look like this, or like, bro, like, if you get into this fucking business, and especially nowadays, people are gonna talk shit. People are always gonna fucking have something to say. Like, even when we put this fucking episode out, people are gonna be talking shit. People are gonna be like, "What's up with these guys?" Or "What
but
is?"
you're still watching, but you're still watching.
But like I said, and I've had people like that, like, I post fucking workout videos or I do this, and people are like, "Oh, this and that," or this and that on YouTube. And you know what I do? I'm like, you know what, man? I appreciate you. You know what? Because you gave me your time. It doesn't matter what you said. You're giving me your time.
Correct.
You're texting me. You're pressing those buttons to tell me something. So that means that I got your attention.
Yeah, let me say this. There's people who are going to start a podcast and you're Latino. Instead of having thick skin, you better have 100 times more thick skin. And now they're gonna come at you. They want to do research on you. They want to see if you're legit. Is he rasa? Is he a coconut? Is he all this stuff? Like, look at my lady. She's already laughing because she already know. And you just gotta stay in your lane. But you know what? I see what the critics, the haters. I say it like this, man. Just roll with the punches, man. We'll see if you're really mentally ready to start a podcast. And this is the thing I stopped doing because I fuck with you still, and certain other people and stuff like that. But people always say, "Hey, Mega Man, if you fuck with all these certain people, how come you're not following them?" Is this that I have my following on Instagram, but personally, I don't put my business out there. I don't want to follow certain people. You know why? Because I don't want our relationship to be fucked up like everyone else's, because there's always going to be people who are going to come between us and start shit. Oh, this is what Mega Man said about you. Hey, Mega Man, this is what Mr. Box said about you. I don't want to be around that stuff. So I keep my personal life very private and our relationship super private, where I don't want the problems, and that's why I don't follow certain people, because there's gonna be crazy ass fucking Latino people or like podcasters and all are stalking. They're gonna see, oh, I want to know Mr. Pox followers. I want to see, I get to know them and see if I can kind of swither my way in and start some shit with Miss Mega Man and Mr. Pop. There is actually people like that, and it's really fucking sad.
And there is, because like I said, we met what, like 3 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Ever
Mm-hmm.
since, I mean, I'm not always on your page, or I'm not, I every time I see you, I fucking click on it, or I say what's up, you say what's up.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never like listened to whatever, negativity about you. Like I've never listened to it. I'm like, you know what? Y'all talk shit about Mega Man. Like he's never talked shit about me. Like he hasn't done nothing to me. So like I don't give a
The,
fuck.
when I talk shit to people, I already figured them out. Once I
Yeah,
figured your pattern and all, that's it. And there's even people, Latino podcasters on my DMs, hey, I'm sorry, it's cool, whatever, but I ain't gonna forget. And there's some that are flippers, and you just, again, you roll with the punches. You're gonna see who's real and who's not. But again, the more people, the more podcaster friends you have, the more problems you have. That's why you got to keep it really tight. And I used to listen to about five, no, not over exaggerating, like 6,000 different types of podcasts. I
yeah,
just listened to eight, nine of them. I just want a good story. I like to listen to good stories and the good conversations. Like a podcast should be good, having a conversation right off the bat, because you don't want no dead air, and you want to keep the conversation going. It's like, oh, this guy's a good host. Oh, it's a good guest. You want your episodes to be good from beginning, middle, and end. And my podcasts, I used to do 2 or 3 hours, or sometimes an hour and 30. Just have a conversation for an hour 10, hour and 30. But if it's really good, keep it maybe, like 2 hours and 10 minutes, because you can make a lot of clips, but it really depends on what type of guest you bring on. And I will say this, I won't mention names. There was a lot of people who came on, and there was a lot of people who wanted to come on, but they got cold feet, because I'm not going to put up with their crap. And knowing now with podcasts, you got to have a contract. If not,
yeah,
they'll fucking sue you. Oh, this is what he said. Oh, I can't talk about this or can't talk about that. That's where it has to be now, because now people are calling motherfuckers out. And when I get a lot of hate, I have to defend myself. And that's what happens when I won this award. Then there was a fake page, and all these fucking people were in their feelings. How come it's not me? Blah blah blah. Like, I'm just doing it because I was working hard and I was on top. But my awards, all I won from podcasts, they're in the they're in my closet. I just did it because I was very passionate about it. I was on a roll until I realized the podcast. It just changed my life to the point. Podcast to me, it conquered all my demons, conquered my depression. I said what I had to say. I learned. It just I was better off without the podcast, because now, knowing what I know now, I can focus on life. And the it's just something where it's like I had a good time, but I'm not retired. But next year when I do come back, I'm just gonna do my own thing, and I just want my show to be different, because when I do a show by myself or with my lady, or if I have a guest, I'm going to be putting a lot of clips, a lot of content on, because a lot of people say, what am I getting from Mr. Pox channel? What am I getting from the Long Beach Social Experiment podcast channel? Because if you put out some good, positive stuff, people are like, oh, this is what they're talking about, I'm going to look it up. Then you just open the eyes to that person. And there's 9 billion people. You're going to, inspire someone, somewhere around the world.
yeah. And that's what it's all about. Like I said earlier, that as long as people can learn from whatever you got going on, if you could change just one person, like I said, you already won. Like that, you don't need the views, you don't need like the clout. As long
Mm-hmm.
as one person, one comment, be like, you know what, hey, you said something that, that's true. and I followed that advice. That what you guys were talking about. It opened my eyes, or
Yeah.
except as long as you get that one comment, you're like, you know what? I don't give a
And,
fuck with no. I don't give a
and
fuck.
that yeah, and that's a balance. You're gonna get a lot of hate, but you're gonna get a lot of love. But there's also people are gonna challenge you. Hey, you talked about this, back it up. You're gonna go through all that stuff. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna talk about this for Latino podcasters. Learn how to take constructive criticism. If you're saying, "Hey, what'd you think of my show?" I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna watch it. Okay. My look, I'll be frank. My show is not the fucking greatest. For me, for my show, I just want to talk. I'm a storyteller. I just want people to listen to audio, video, whatever. But when you look at what they're talking about on the video, or if you hear it in your ears, I have a notepad. This is what you did wrong. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not gonna say, "Oh, it's a good podcast." I'm gonna say no. It's like trash because I'm looking out for you. I don't want you to be starting podcasts and being a fucking laughing stock. Be what you want. If you want your podcast to be don't give a fuck, okay, by all means, I'll shut the fuck up. But if you want some routes where like, oh, that's not gonna happen, trust me, it's gonna happen. You got to go through all you know, the stuff like what I've been through, and I just want to help them out. But they're like, "Oh, you're just being a hater. Oh, you're being this." But you asked me, "What did you think?"
Yeah,
People don't want to hear negativity. You have to hear reality and negativity. You have to because it's gonna program you. Be like, you know what, Mr. Pock, Mega Man, who else? They're right. You know what? I'm gonna work on my weak points. You just look at. You have a car. I have a car. You got to get oil change. You got to get a tune up. You got to get a transmission. Got to get a tire. It's you just got to better yourself. Better the podcast. Look at things like, oh, this is what I'm doing wrong. Oh, I'm saying hecka a whole bunch of times, or I'm saying the word. Oh, you like because people want to hear like some good language. They don't want to hear all those slangs. And a lot of people are like, why are you talking like that? Why does he have a slang like that or this? So sometimes in a way with me, I have to correct myself because I used to do a lot of slangs and I used to cuss a lot, but you lose followers like that. So how am I going to get new followers, new listeners? Talk about something and let it be cool, but you just be yourself, but correct your words. Like, I don't like when people say, hey, what's up, fool? Like when people tell me, "Hey, what's up, fool?" I get mad on that because you're degrading us. I'm not a fool. My name is Stephen Martinez. Would you like it if I call you fool? No, you're Mr. Pog. Like I can't. It's all about respect, and I feel like now with the new generations and the podcasters, they don't give a fuck anymore. So that's why, in a way, I don't entertain it. I had a whole bunch of people who want me to have me on, and I say, what are the topics we're going to talk about? Because I don't want to talk about this, this, and this, and you got to fill them out. And I'm going to be honest, I have to keep it very tight with certain podcasts that I do because I'm used to them. I'm not used to these all the other ones. They're just going to say stupid stuff, and they're very like they're very they're very ignorant. They don't
yeah,
know shit. They just want your numbers. That's all they do. It's like I just want to bring you on just for the numbers. I had certain podcasters tell me that, and I told them, like, you know what, go fuck off then. I'm not going to be used just for numbers. At the same time, you got to get paid. You got to get paid. If a person really wants to fuck with you, hey, pay me, because this is your time. But I don't ask for money. But next year I will be. But you're cool. Don't worry about it. But I know. But you have to these days because it's your time. But
yeah.
I just, to be honest, I people they got to get over that hump. Take constructive criticism and just again stay in your fucking lane.
Yeah, don't try to be like everybody else, because it boils down to what I said earlier, that if you're just gonna fucking following everybody else, like, then what's the whole point of
Yeah,
you?
and also at the same time, if you're a Latino podcaster and I'm a Latino podcaster, bro, we're gonna go at it. I've been seeing a lot of this stuff, man. People have there's some big heads, big fucking heads. Oh, I did this. Oh, it's like a pissing contest, Like, oh, I'm better than you. Like, okay, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care if you go, oh, but you know how the video had over fucking billions of views. I don't give a fuck about that. See, to me, it's like people always comparing. I'm better than you. I got better show than you. Oh, you dropped off. But the thing is, when I took a break, they're still posting about me because I'm on their mind 24/7 and they can't get off my fucking nuts. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Whatever I said to them, it mind fucked them to the point they I'm on their mind 24/7. So those people out there, just get used to seeing this fucking face with my fucking Cleveland Indian hat and with my glasses. But it is what it is. I don't give a fuck now. I
Yeah, I
moved
mean,
on. I moved on.
like I said, it and like me, I listen to other podcasters, and like I said, I don't hate if I don't like it. I'm like, you know what? I'm
Don't
not
listen
gonna.
to it.
I just what I do when I listen to other podcasts is, I just try to like get, um, like advice, or like you said, like, oh, they're doing this wrong, or you know what, I like what he did here, like just grabbing ideas basically, to create my own. And I know a lot of people, man. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that. I'm like, man, like I see podcasters or other podcasts, and I'm like, these motherfuckers stole my idea. This motherfucker, and I'm like, you know what? Nah, fuck it. I'm not gonna go down on that road. You know what? Like, start calling people now, like, hey, you stole my shit. Like, hey,
That's the thing. Like
that
people think,
to me.
yeah, that's what people think. Like they think like, oh, Mega Man, you're plagiarizing because you said this in this episode. I'm just being me. Like, why am I gonna see something and talk about it and use that person's words? Like, I don't give a fuck about that. I'm just being me. But again, when people make videos of me, they're in their feelings and you're focusing all your energy on me, where your energy should be focusing, how am I going to get out of this fucking bubble and how am I going to get more views, clouds, and numbers? But I'm just using all my energy on one person because he got to me. And that, again, you've seen a lot of podcasters quit, man. You buy all this shit, you talk all this shit, they quit. For me, I can't do anything. I'm suspended. I mean, like, hey, you can't do podcasts because we can't control you. You say a lot of shit, you say a lot of crazy stuff, and we're gonna put you on timeout. So to me, when I do come back, it's gonna be different. But again, I'm not gonna have anyone say you can't say this, you can't say that. I'm gonna be me, and feel like that's my purpose. Who else is gonna do that? When the stuff that I post on my Instagram, this is my method of thinking. I want you to go on my page and understand this is what he is, this is what he talks about. Like, oh, I never learned this. And it's very intriguing because what I like when people come to my Long Beach Social Experiment podcast page, of course I do podcasts, but if you're gonna have a podcast, you gotta have a bomb ass page. Cause sometimes in a way I get tired of certain podcasters like, okay, you make a video, like, okay, what else you got? Like you're ordering a burger, where's the ketchup? Where's the mustard? Where's the mayonnaise? Like all that. That's why I want my page to be different. And what I like the most when people like my stuff, I go to my view insights. Oh wow, 125 people reposted it on their stories and all. Oh wow, 165 to 200 people saved it. You're waking up people's eyes like that because they're fucking with your page. So I'm doing something right. But again, I don't care about views, clouds, and numbers. I can have a million, I can have 10 views. It doesn't make a difference. But as long as someone's out there watching me and fuck with me, that's all that counts.
Yeah, it's like they say, that if you don't have haters, then you're not doing something right.
When I have people hating me, making memes and all that stuff, I won. Because if you didn't have all that stuff, then that's where, oh hey, what about me? I need some haters. I'm special too. Like people just don't get it. If a lot of people were in my shoes, they wouldn't like I can't deal with it. Because if you deal with a lot of hate and you're still here, you're still alive, and you survived the fucking Latino podcast and the COVID and the Black Lives Matter and all this crap, dude, you got your fucking battle scars. You won. That's how I see it as. I'm fucking here still. I'm still surviving. Even though our roads are fucked up, our economy's all fucked up, I'm still fucking here, fucking breathing.
Hell yeah. Hey, you think that I don't know, like I don't know much about this, but you know that lady, what's her name? The one that's running for president?
Kamala Harris, yeah, she. To be honest, that girl, that I don't give a care if she's like, oh, but she's gonna be the first, woman. I don't care. Like you will always be a groupie whore from from Montel Williams show. Like you always been like that. You had to sleep to get to the top, and all the stuff when she got clowned up by Tulsi Gabbard and all when she was focusing on the prison system, Kamala Harris, and she's not that bright. And she's copying Trump's stuff and everything. Look, we all know the jig is up. People are waking up from social media. That's where they're shutting down TikTok. All the countries are shutting down, uh, freedom of speech and all that stuff because we know the truth. We know everything. And the Democrats, your time is up. Now it's time to look at our streets. Look at the Democrats. Oh, you vote for us, we'll do this. Man, our country's like shit right now.
yeah,
$36 trillion. You think away, and we're in a possibility of going to war in two fronts. China and Russia coming from the Pacific, and you have Russia in the Middle East coming from the Atlantic, dude, and you have an open border and an open border in Canada and all this stuff. It's crazy right now. And look what's going on. They're sending secret agents, like young men in the open borders going from Texas and all, and we're not, don't even talk to me about like human trafficking. All that stuff's coming in, cartels. I mean, this is like a foreign invasion. This is where it's like we're going to see the collapse because they want this to be because there's a lot of people are not working, and they're sending all these people to come in. We'll give you this and this. Oh, by the way, but you have to vote. That's what the Democrats are desperate because when Trump takes office, we're going to know all the players. When that Epstein's Island list comes out, we're going to part ways with certain countries. Like, why are we giving money to Ukraine? Why are we still giving money to Israel? And Israel has us by our balls. It's almost like I see Israel now, and I know I'm going to get shit for this. I see Israel as like the comic book Venom. They're latched on. We need the aid. We need the aid. This all goes back to the fucking John F. Kennedy. All that stuff is they needed the nuclear bomb, and that's what they did. They tried to be cool with us, and they stabbed us in the back. That's where close to 32, 33 trillion dollars. Where is that money going to? It's going to the CIA. It's going to foreign aids. It's going to a lot of foreign aids to Israel. But what can you do? We're just getting leached off people using us. They're using us. Hey, it's almost like in a way, Mr. Pock, you have that toxic girlfriend. You know you can change her, but you take her back because you feel sorry for her. But I'll give you a little bit more money. Just don't do it again. She does it again. Okay, I'm sorry. This time I'll learn my lesson. That's how United States is right now. We're getting clowned
like
on.
it's like putting a band-aid over it, like
Yeah, just put a band-aid over it, and we don't know how it's gonna be next year. Like, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna go into civil war? Look at fucking Trump almost got killed, and a lot of people believe there was three shooters. The same thing would happen with John F. Kennedy. The same thing tried to do, but I really believe like that kid. That kid was. There was some evidence from the FBI, the CIA. There was some stuff on his phone. I don't know. Conspiracy time. MK Ultra.
yeah. Because I mean, they say that that lady that she was running, like she was basically making decisions for Biden. Like everything Biden did, that she was behind all that. So I'm like, what makes her think that people are gonna fucking choose her? I mean, if a lot of people didn't like what the fuck Biden was doing, and if she was doing all that shit, like, what makes you think that you're gonna win?
I mean, this has been going on for like 60, 70 years, the CIA and everything. It's just, it is. I mean, everyone doesn't know, but like, I always hear that, people say, where's the real Vatican at? Well, the real Vatican's in Washington, D.C. So it doesn't matter who you put in office. They already have who they want. And I guarantee, man, I don't know what, but I have this feeling if Kamala Harris does be president and people just had it with the world, had it with social media, Everyone's angered. I just feel like you got to have a fair say. If Trump loses, and I hope he doesn't, because I'm going to vote for him and I got a lot of shit for that. But if he does, he's going to say, hey, Israel, we're going to cut ties a little bit with the money. We're going to fix the problem in Ukraine with Russia and China and still be at peace. But what can we do? Because remember this, Mr. Pock, when the COVID times happened, we saw all the cracks, what was going on in our country. Our
Yeah.
cities are not clean, corruption with money, nothing's being done. If you have kids or anyone else have kids, we got to change the educational system from the Rockefellers. It's basic stuff from the unions. You want to have a better place. And what can we do to have these kids not be on social media, but no violence? You see all the high theft stealings, all these places we used to eat back in the day, they're all closed down because they're just whatever people that they have in this certain state, we're gonna dump them over there. You deal with it. You deal with the people who are mentally ill or this or whatever. Look what's going on. I want to go take a trip, to San Francisco. It's not the same no more, man. All the places are closing down. It hurts because it's a corporation. I really believe the corporation has to say who's going to be our president or not because they
You know,
rule us over here.
what I've been seeing a lot, Mega Man. It's even here in San Antonio, and I've seen it over there in Cali. That like a lot of businesses, like you said, that they're closing down and they're going like independent. Like they're fucking being on the corners, fucking selling their food, and think they even do better doing that.
Yeah, man. But at the same time, if you're being a vendor or you're a street vendor, you're doing that. The repercussions, man. You're
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna get killed and robbed. You don't care these days. It's like easy money. Everything's going up. Shit. You look at when these videos back then, you would buy a whole bunch of groceries for like 60 or $70. Now you buy a little bit more groceries or a little bit, it's almost close to $300. And that's
And
the thing. You got to go where everything's cheap. And it's like, oh shit, this person's a street vendor, $1.50 of tacos. This certain time, this is how much they make. Okay, I'm gonna go rob these motherfuckers on Thursday because I know on their register or those street vendors outside, they're making some big bucks. They could have $3,000 to $4,000. It's an easy fix, man. That's why they're robbing people. No one cares these days. It's survival of the fittest. I'll even be honest. Like I had to buy a gun. I'm strapped up, weapons, all that. Because this is the thing. We talked about this. If you're on social media and power grid shuts down, how are you gonna evolve around nature, or how are you gonna make a tent, or how are you gonna get water or hunt? I'm into that mode now where you don't see me doing podcasts. There's one thing I keep my life very private. Going to the shooting range, learning how to defend yourself, tactics. That's what I'm doing. Taking MMA, taking like how to make a fire, how to do this, just in case if everything shuts off. Like you got to be prepared. And also with people who might attack you, you have to be. People are strapped up these days. I have to be strapped up. It is what it is. But hey, people are getting away with murder. But if I defend myself, I go to jail and the criminal gets away. I'm not going to have anyone say, hey, you know what? Beat me up, kill me. I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to defend myself either way. You have to these days. People was like, I want to fight you one on one. Those days are done. Those We're in the streets. Anything goes.
yeah, nowadays, like I said,
Anything
even
goes.
a 12-year-old, a young kid could kill you, man. Like it's, you know,
I'm telling you, people are emotional. This is one of the things after the COVID, when the COVID was done, everyone's all being that kumbaya. When they go back to reality, they be more assholes. They were like, wow. But in the same time, you kind of figure out who was real and who was not, who was about that life and who was not. When they got exposed, like, sorry, can't fuck with you. You're a black sheep to us now.
yeah.
That's how it was. But I'm telling you, we're in crazy times right now, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen to our country. But I really believe, I just want our country better. And even when people's like, "Oh, Mega Man, you ain't Rasa, you ain't from Mexico," and so look, man, I no matter if I don't speak Spanish, I still care about my roots, still be there, with my family. I still have my blood and everything. knowing where your family came from. My family had oil, and the government took that over, and my family had to cross the United States to start a better life, and they had no money. They were tycoons. They had billions of dollars. Then after the government took it, they had nothing. They confiscated it, took it, and they had to start a new life with no income. And they did it, but they're still proud to be Mexicans. This is our country still. No matter what, we're Americans. We're still raza, you know. And that's the thing where I just, for some kind of reason, Pac, man, I'm just tired of all these people just hate. But if black people and our own people were not emotional, work together, there's nothing gonna stop us. But at the same time, if I see you doing good, fuck him. That should have been me. Or if I'm doing good, fuck him. That should have been me. We should be uplifting each other, and that's one of the things I part ways from a lot of these people, because I didn't want that bad influence in my mind to keep that generational curse from going with our people. So I had to stop that. So that's why I don't fuck with people like that. I want to see people win, but at the same time, dude, it's just hard, man. Everyone's in their feelings. Everyone's so envious and jealous. And I'm sorry, Mr. Pop, I can't be around people like that, or I can't have that in my life.
Yeah, it's crazy that people, they see you succeed, and instead of, like you said, instead of praising you, like, you know what, hey, good job, or you know what, keep it going, like they just fucking hate on you, and they just like they just do anything possible to fucking bring you down.
And the same time, I'll tell you this about Latino podcasts: when you have a page and you're uplifting, you're whatever, you're just being me. There's gonna come a time you post one video or a post, it can just change your world upside down. You got all this love one day, bam, the next day it's gone. Your own people will turn on you, no matter if you're doing good or not. That's how it is. I'll give you an example. Hey, you ever go on the foods community and you see nothing but fucking hate, no matter if this person's doing good? And I remember there was a there was a basketball player named, and shouts to Cesar Guermo, and foods community put his picture up as being the best like Mexican player in the United States. And I used to watch this guy play at Long Beach or at St. John Bosco. It's like, wow, I want to get him on my podcast one day. And seeing the negativity on the comments and going to their pages, mostly private, maybe have just one post, just talking shit, man. That's what I hate. But at the same time, I'm guilty of it. I talk shit, but that's how it is when it comes to our people. But now with social media, man, you can be fucked over overnight just by a post or this whatever, or maybe because I don't agree with you, or maybe because I post something, I lose everything. And that's where with me, Mr. Pock, I don't have a business. I'm not balling. I don't get paid to do it. I just do podcasts because I do podcasts. I have a work, I work, I do this, but I don't I have nothing to lose.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people do. I can't say this, or I can't get paid. I can't post this because there's people who are actually scared to lose it all. With me, I'll roll the dice, and if I win, fuck it. If I lose, fuck it. I have nothing to lose. That's why, in a way, I'm used to it, getting all the hate. I'm used to the backlash. I'm used to the inspiration, or when people repost, like anything. If it's good and bad, again, we talked about earlier, just roll with the punches and see how it goes.
Yeah, you just gotta, like I said, let people be, and
I
like you
just want
said,
to be. I just want to be myself. That I
yeah,
mean, you're different. I'm different. But I have an open mind. People are not going to agree with you. People will agree with you, but it is what it is. But you know what? As long as you had a discussion, being as men, but not men who are emotional, men, and talk about it. What can we do? And if you leave that positive thought in their mind, maybe in a way it might help out their kids. Maybe in a way it might help them in a certain event they might get into or whatever. I just can't be around men who are very emotional, because with men who are very emotional, I mean, fuck it. Look what happened to Columbine. People
Mm.
shoot up the place, this, whatever. You can't be around people like that these days. And now it's like when I have a conversation with someone, they get in their feelings, or even on social media. I mean, it's like to the point now. It's like who I am is who I am, but now I'm being shadow banned because I can't be myself because it's waking up people's eyes. It's waking up people's ears. What I say, people listen. But again, I can't be like who I want to be because of Instagram or people. They want to put me in a certain category, but you know what? I can't be in that bubble. Why do I have to be in the bubble? How come I just can't be myself? I want to be different. I don't want to be in all those types of people. I want to be me. That's why, in a way, I'm always like, I feel like I'm the zebra. The zebra does what he wants. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to be like locked down or controlled or say, hey, Mega Man, you can't say this, you can't say that. I can't. Then if I can't be myself, then right now I would have had a shitty ass episode with you.
Yeah, it's what they say that what you're saying that you can't say what you say, you can't say what you want to say because people get offended, and it goes back to the wagon. You gotta follow. If you're not following that wagon, then you know.
Oh, I get it all the time. Like, oh, Mega Man, you post a lot of conspiracies. You always talk about flat Earth or the ice wall or Antarctica. It's like, I like it. It's intriguing. What I mean, doesn't it make you kind of think like, how big is the Earth? And the only person who saw how Earth was Enoch. When God took him, this is how the Earth is. And you see all these technologies of people talking about firmaments, or like there were some college kids that put a camera going all the way up and it bounced, but it only screenshot maybe 2 seconds of it. And the Earth, how it is, NASA to deceive makes it's a globe, but that video when he took a picture, it was like flat. It was like more stuff out there. So who knows? But at the same time, I always believe like, is there more advanced civilizations past our ice wall? You always hear stories when talking about like from the Mayan days or William Morris, like certain breakage from the ice wall. You can get out, and there's more advanced civilizations that the elites, the governments don't want us to know, because a lot of people feel like we're slaves into our known lands because of the 100 families that control us. Does anyone talking about when you and I, when we're born, when you have your social security's number, why don't you do a little research behind that social security's number and see what number you have in the back to see which slave you are or me to those 100 families that control us? Birth certificates and everything. So that's why a lot of people know these things. That's why it's like, oh, okay, if you know the route, do you have a boat? Do you know the navigation system? Because if you know all that stuff, you can get out, be free. But the government doesn't want us to get out. So that's why they get jets, battleships, or anything. And if we're trying to leave, they'll just kill us. Back then in the 17, 1800s, early 1900s, you can get out there. But now everything's controlled by the 100 families, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, the oligarchs, the elites. And if you guys don't believe me, go look up Billy Carson on social media, on Forbidden Knowledge. He was a guest on Rogan. He was a guest on Patrick Ben David. He was a guest on Angel Schultz. This is one of the reasons this guy right here, Mr. Pock, changed my life of how I see things in the world, in our government, in our social media. When he talks about the divide and conquer tactic, we talked about religions, like everything, because it all goes back to the Tower of Babels. A lot of people think God made us, but it was the Anunnakis who made us. The Anunnakis made us, and you ever think about and hear stories about humans used to live over 100,000 years old and all that. There was a story in the book of the Bible, that Bible Towers. God, or there was two gods, and they went away. They came back. They were like, "Oh my gosh, if the humans put their efforts, their hearts, their mind to it to build to reach the heavens as them, we can't have this," because they said the humans will be 100 times more advanced than the Anunnakis. We'll be more advanced than our own gods. So that's why they put the religions, divide and conquer, separate our language, because we had one race, one language, and we worked as a team, and we almost got to that. And that's when I feel every time we're almost at that peak, you always hear stories of like, God had to flood the earth or this or that. He's just like, oh, you're up there. I got to stop this. And that's when you hear the stories of like the Noah's flood and all that stuff to, kill much people as you can because they feel like the gods were jealous, like the humans were going to surpass them 100 times over than the Anunnakis. It's a trip.
Yeah, they were talking about that. I saw that movie the other day. I don't know if you've seen it. The new one, the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, yeah, I saw some, but I haven't seen the recent ones.
Yeah, it was like I said. I've never seen the other movies. I saw that one, and like I said, I go back to the same thing that I was telling you. Like it's crazy that imagine if the world like ends up like that. Like the animals, like the fucking like the apes are one thing, and then the humans are another thing. And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I Joe Rogan was talking about that. They were saying maybe because they ate something like, you know, how they were eating something that was more like, I don't want to butcher it, but there was some stuff that they ate to see how humans evolve. I mean, you heard the Anunnaki stories. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's a trip, and that's one of the things I always get intrigued by. Like, how was it back then? There's one crazy story. Hey, I'm gonna tell you. I'm good on time, Doc. There's a crazy story Billy Carson was talking about. If you look up the book in the Bible, look up the whole chapter of Deuteronomy.
mm,
Deuteronomy, that whole chapter, no one reads it. You really want to know what happened to the city of Atlantis? Read that whole chapter.
crazy shit, right?
Yeah, because a lot of people, like Billy Carson and me, I really believe we're living on Atlantis. Because you got to remember, there's a lot of us, there's a lot of Atlantean continents, brothers and families who controlled. There are stories of Atlantean. There are stories of the continent of Mu. It was in the Middle Pacific Ocean. There's only surviving remnants of the continent of Mu. Tahiti, a lot of the Fiji Islands, Hawaii. Check this out. Eastern Island. That's way out there. That's still the continent of Mu. They're surviving whatever happened. And Lemuria over there in the Indian Oceans. Well, a lot of people don't know this. There was a great war that happened with the
Yeah,
Anunnakis when they had nuclear weapons and disasters happens. People talk about the pyramids, Thoth. There was corruptions in the Atlantean families, and also with the Anunnakis, and they couldn't resolve their differences. So there was nuclear war, and that happened, and it sunk the whole entire Lemuria and the Indian Ocean. And the only surviving remnants of Lemuria is an island next to Africa, and that's Madagascar, and also with the continent of Mu. So there was some crazy ass stuff going on. We had wars in 3 planets: the Moon, Earth, and Mars, because of
yeah,
all the stuff that was going on with the wars with the Anunnakis and the Atlanteans. It was all like who's going to control the world, take all their resources and all that stuff. But there's one crazy trip about the gods of wars in the book of Deuteronomy. Billy Carson talked about this. When the war was done, one of the Atlantean families lost a great war and they were banished to the moon. I want to know what happened with him because you got to remember, United States, the moon, they have signals and they're talking to each other every day. So who knows? People think like, oh, we never went to the moon. I think Billy Carson says, I kind of believe we did went to the moon, but we faked it because there's a lot of advanced technologies. If you go to NASA.com, you look at there's some certain pictures, you can see some strange things in the dark side of the moon, but who knows? And a lot of people think like the humans, we came from Mars because Mars, like there was humans, there was some top secret stuff, and they say we came from there. And now when they discovered Mars, they discovered like there was some particles from xenon that was from a great nuclear war. And Billy Carson talks about it because in the Emerald Tablets, it talks about it. There was a great war on 3 planets.
It's like that picture. I don't know if you saw it. Remember that that they found like a door kind of thing.
Like a satellite. They, yeah. And also there was a video, you can look it up on YouTube. One of the Apollos, he was looking like, oh, look all those convex out down there, look like little cubes. I bet
Yeah,
you the people don't get out. And there was some whistling, like there was some people praising. It was weird, but who knows what goes on in the moon? I mean, there's other planets out there, but then that's one thing, man. It's all about learning. This is all fascinating to me. Like learning what, we hear stories of advanced civilizations. Like I want to learn, and how come, like, what happened, the destructions, and now we're trying to gather all the pieces. I'm more fascinated what's going on in Antarctica, bro.
that's crazy
Crazy,
shit right there, man.
crazy, bro. I was posting a lot of Antarctica stuff, but hearing stories, man, about Germany, Admiral Burns, the so-called the master who controls the Earth, underground bases over the world, human trafficking, aliens, technology, just weird stuff. Germany has a fucking base. And I really believe Germany didn't lose the war, because I heard, um, from some people, and I watched it on YouTube, on a lot of the stuff on Rumble. They were talking about it. And if you look it up, Billy Carson on the Sean Ryan show, it's on YouTube, badass show. He talks about Admiral Burns sent a military fleet to Antarctica, and Germany and some UFO technologies that they had, man, fucked them up, and Admiral Burns went packing. But there's a lot of crazy stuff in Antarctica. There's more lithium, there's more coal, advanced technologies. They were saying that there's pyramids over there that are 1,000 feet.
Un,
Crazy.
like under the ground or what?
Like outside,
Oh, outside.
And the weird thing is, you're seeing the climate change. It sucks because Antarctica, if it starts melting, everything's gonna rise up. But you're looking at all the stuff, like look at the pyramids, and they look very advanced. Then also you're hearing stories that the Anunnakis are there, the Nephilim giants are there. You hear stories. They found like a frozen megalodon.
Just imagine,
Crazy,
imagine, like you said, imagine if it fucking melts, like a lot of shit that's been frozen there. Like what's gonna fucking come out? Like
bro.
some crazy shit.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because now I post some crazy stuff, and I get always get shadow banned. Somewhere in Mongolia or in Antarctica or certain places that's always been frozen. When you have the climate change and there's certain countries that are been frozen, and now you're going back to like, oh shit, we never seen this. There's animals that are have diseases. And what
Yeah.
happened in Mongolia, this happened years ago. You guys can look this up. It's melting over there in Siberia and around there. And there's animals that are frozen with 8 or 9 different types of diseases that would just kill the whole planet. From like everyone would die. This is like 100 times worse than than the plague and all, because it spreads out, and it gets more crazy by heat. That's why certain diseases need to be frozen. But when you get the heat, it gets worse. We're fucked. That's why I get scared to watch some of these disease movies, like that movie with Dustin Hoffman called Outbreak
Mm.
with Cuban Gooding Jr. Bro, I get tripped out like that, man. Like all these smallpox, COVID, like all. It's crazy when it's almost like, don't try to be God, because you have all these diseases and one spreads out. It can just be airborne and everyone can fucking die in 24 hours. That to me is scary.
You know, it's another story that I saw because I see some videos every now and then about this. It was this island, this island somewhere. You know those what they call those. You know those tribes.
Oh,
The
Centennial Island.
Yeah, that they said that I don't know if it's true, but they said that they had captured one of them and they brought it like out here, and that he died because uh all the shit that we eat, and like all the shit that we have going on, and that they're supposed that he's not used to that. That's why they don't fuck with them. That's why they just keep him there. And we think like, how do they survive? Like they need shots, they need this, they need that. But actually they don't, because they're there, they live for fucking hundreds and hundreds of years. And they said that they brought one of them out here, and that he died because they give him all the shit that we take.
It's crazy because they're just not used to, like, when you go to like third world countries, if they've been there for thousands of years, they know all the food, the remedies, and all that stuff. But when you come over here, it's not good for us. It's just almost like, in a way, we're guinea pigs to the corporations, to big pharma, because it's like, hey, if you don't get your vax, you can't go to school. If you see that's hey, if you don't get your vax, you can't work, you get fired. Like anything that we eat, and there's a lot of stuff. And you go to European countries that they can't accept corporation food from the United States. What the fuck? You put this in here? You're not being accepted. And that's where I was watching a video on Instagram.
Mm.
This guy moved out of the United States and he moved to, I think, Honduras. I think it was Honduras. I think he was trying to go do his own thing because of Dr. Sabi, like, hey, I want to clear everything out. He had to do a detox. All the chemicals, all the processed stuff that he was eating in the United States, bro. He says, I never had my mind be so super clear, and you have a frequency of, like, you feel the earth, like everything is like you're being blocked. Like even when you have your iPhone, you're not supposed to be having your iPhone in your pocket. You know why? You're getting more like radiation, because when you have your iPhone on, turn off your Wi-Fi, because it's eating up your brain. So that's why he moved out of the United States, he had a free thinking, no social media, the food, everything. He lived for another like 30 or 40 more years because
And
of the processed food.
like like you're saying about the phone too, like it does fuck you up, because sometimes like I'm at work and I'm on the phone all the time, all the time, all the time, and then I like snap out of it. And I'm like, damn, like my fucking head hurts, and I'm just like, damn, I've been so fucking into this shit that it just fucking like blacks me out, man. Like I disconnect from the real world, and then I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like what the fuck happened? And
Bro,
and
I can't even listen. I used to listen to podcasts overnight. I can't even do that because when you see these videos, say if you have your Wi-Fi on, if you have a Bluetooth, it's like you're fucking up your brain more. And I listen to podcasts when you have your iPhone on. I turn my Wi-Fi off, but you can still listen to podcasts. But you have a Bluetooth on, and I'm walking, man. There'll be times I'll have a brain fog because it's messing up my wiring and my brain when I listen to podcasts. So now I put my phone in a certain location and I just put the speaker on and just hear podcasts. And I take it with me. It's just
yeah,
like, dude, anything that you put in your body, your shots, you go to the doctor, your Wi-Fi, you have internet, everything it's almost like, in a way, we gotta figure out a way to kill these people. We got 9 billion people. We gotta figure out a way. We'll vent this, but they're gonna have brainwaves. Or we do this, this is what's gonna happen. They say when a lot of people put their phones, they have their Wi-Fi on in their pockets. That's where they say a lot of people get cancer, and it starts from the legs.
mm. It's like almost like if we're fucking in this world jail, if you could say,
I believe that. I
you know,
believe that. And they say when we die, we're just reborn again in a different, like, okay, you're almost there, Mega Man. Let's try it again and let's see if you can figure it out what you did. And that's how I feel like when people start figuring out, they're saying something about the 33. Like this person talks about, like, he figured out the 33, it got to the next advanced dimension. It all evolves around his pineal gland. That's what the Anunnakis were talking about. Someone put a little juice in our body. It's like, hey, they were saying the secrets of the universe is in our body, and we have to figure it out. And if we figure it out, we can get to that next dimension. What we were talking about earlier, get back to the golden age
yeah.
of being advanced, and there's peace. There's no more wars. There's no more chaos. We all can work together. That's just how it is.
I was talking to my kids the other day, and they're like, no, like, when you die, like the reincarnation and stuff. And I'm like, because you, I'm gonna ask you this question too. I'm like, you ever had that time where like you talk to somebody and then you're like, I know this person. Like I feel like I know this person from somewhere. Like you feel familiar with that person.
Yeah, and
It
that's
could be
how.
it could
Yeah.
be like a kid. It could be like another person, that your age or whatever. But you're like, why have I seen this guy? Like you feel like you know him, but like you never met him in your life. You know what I mean? But sometimes I think like, maybe that's somebody, that died like 20 years ago, or and he reincarnated. So, but he's in another person. So you meet him and you feel that connection, right? You're like, damn, I
So
know this person. Like it feels like
yeah,
I.
I've been having some dreams, and I think this is the first time I talk about it. This is the first time I talk about it with with my lady. When you start having these dreams, and yeah, again, we're talking about reincarnation. I'm always living it like I'm somewhere in a tropical jungle, and that's why I'm always thinking Antarctica. Not bullshitting. I'm always having dreams. I was reincarnated in Greece.
In
I was
Greece.
always and I was like reincarnated in South Africa. Remember, that's how human life happened. Because you got to remember the what you may call when all the continents were together. It's called Gondwana. When you had Antarctica, India, Africa, all that was a lot of good trading. So that's why I feel around that. I always feel like I, I was past life. I could only think of Antarctica, Greece, and South Africa. But for some kind of reason, it's those three places I always feel like I was reincarnated here. But I, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Like, wouldn't that be a trip if, like, Mr. Pock was over here in the 1700s? He died, then he got reincarnated again. It's almost like, okay, I want to see if Mr. Pock can, I want to challenge him. He was good in 2024. If anything happens, I want to send him back to this time. I want to send Megan back to this time and see how he grows. It's almost like when Billy Carson was talking about we're learning how to walk. We're going to fall down, but we're going to get back up. And that's how I feel if we start learning, developing as a baby and you're getting older, that's how I feel we're getting to a new, different dimension. So that's why I feel like what's going on right now in the sign of Aquarius, we're getting ready to take that next step to get to the next dimension. That's why you're seeing all these weird stuff and everything happen. But it's almost like in a way we're just going. We advanced on level 3. Now let's start on level 4.
Sometimes you get like we call it deja vu, right? You're like, I've been here. Like I've seen
Yeah.
this.
Yep.
Right? So, I mean, maybe like you're saying, like maybe we come from fucking like back in the day, and and we already reincarnated, and that's why we say sometimes like, damn, bro, like I seen this shit, like I've been, I something tells me that I've been here before.
So 8 years ago, I was dreaming about I'm gonna go out, but it was like a dream. It's like I know this street, and I figured out. I looked at my phone when I was sleeping, and it was on my dream, like on this day. Well, weird thing is, again, crazy. That same day, I was going on this street, and I was like, for some kind of reasons, like I don't know about this street. So I turned and went on another street, avoided what was going to happen to me, or who knows how the earth would do. But when I turned the other street, the next day, 5 people got killed in Long Beach on a drive by. And it
Crazy.
was, yeah, it was a drive by. So just imagine if I would have went in the nick of time, they would have shot up my car or whoever and stuff because they were looking for I had a blue Kia at the time, a Kia
Mm.
car looks just like that. And it was like wrong place, wrong time. But I guess in a way, certain individuals had the same blue Kia car just like mine. But I just was like, I'm not gonna go on the street. They were watching for that car, and they shot up that car because that car with certain those individuals were gonna shoot up their place. So they would have shot me up on accident, knowing the fact like the people who they're going to kill or those people are going to kill them had the same identical car. And it's almost like in a way you think of that movie Back to the Future, where he gives them that letter. It's like, hey, open this up at this time. And in the end, he feels like, oh shit, if you didn't give me that letter, I would have been killed by those terrorists who killed him for that the nuclear secrets. So he saved them. It's almost like in a way with reincarnation. It's like sometimes you have deja vu, and it's like, it's not gonna happen. But sometimes it happens in a week or two, or maybe in a year. But man, it's a trip, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I said, all that stuff that it just makes you think, about all this stuff, And lately, I like I said, I've been watching, videos like that, about, you know, I don't know. I think it's just that I'm getting old, and I'm started watching all this shit. But I mean, it's good to watch, stuff like that, to know about stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you never know.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you got to keep on learning because look at we don't know how much time we have, and the only thing I focus right now is this again with my family, my kids, just saving up money and just living another day, man. That's times are hard. There's people out there who are balling, and now they're almost like to the point they're almost like fuck, we got to work. If not, we're gonna be on the streets next week. That's how it is now.
Yeah,
Don't blame us. It's not us. It's the economy. They're giving money. The military industrial complex. They don't give a fuck about us. They get a hard on from wars. War makes money. But the
yeah,
thing is, it's like it costing our lives. Well, we have all this money, but we're gonna tax you guys because you guys dumb as fuck. And they're taxing us and we're taking the bait. And more money. It's like to the point, it's fucked up. The people, if you have kids, boy, your kids' lives are going to be fucked. There's people living in houses or roommates, and it's not the same no more. And these boomers not selling their houses at the same time. You have corporations buying houses, buying everything. You just to rent to build smart cities. They don't give a fuck about us. It's all control. But who knows how our economy is going to be if whoever takes office is it going to be good or is it going to be not? Because I honestly feel if this economy goes how it is, look what happened to Venezuela.
mm,
Look
yeah,
what happened to Venezuela. Those 4 years, it was this is how socialist is. This is where it's gonna come. You guys pushing this on schools and all. We don't need this. This is not good. And the people, they don't want that crap.
yeah,
Don't you want a safe haven? Look what's going on in El Salvador. Don't you want
yeah,
a safe haven like that? Now the corporate come in. Now you because you did it. It took time, but it's a small country. I get it, but can you do that to the United States? What can you do? I want a safe place. I want to see my kids or my grandkids play in the streets without no fucking violence. I don't want
yeah,
to see none of this drugs or fentanyl and all this crap. People should learn, but they don't. They want us to make us look stupid. The whole thing with the Rockefeller system with the schools. We don't want thinkers. We want workers. They don't want to have us to have an open mind. You have an open mind, I have an open mind, but the thing is they program us. We're going to give you the facts. This is what's going to happen. If the facts, you might get autism or not. Okay, boom, whatever. We're taking to school. We're going to teach you just the basics. Oh, by the way, if you want to be more smart like us, go to college, but you have to pay us to give you the knowledge. But now with social media, Rumble, YouTube, everything's it, dude. People are not going to school. It's a scam. Why am I going to be in debt for $100,000 where I can get my free college and fucking on social media and YouTube or on Rumble or podcasts? That's what I'm trying to do. We should be doing that. People are learning from us. And look what's going on. You don't see a lot of people going to college. It's a scam. And that's where the Rockefellers or Rothschilds, they all get their money because that's how you boost the economy. Go to college, do this and that. But now people are waking up to the point all corporation jobs are all fucking closing down. No one wants to be in debt. I'm getting my school on social media. I'm student loans. I don't want that. That's unforgiven. And now people are noticing, hey, this is how you build your credit up. Hey, this is how you do a checkbook. We're learning the ropes now where everyone little by little is taking the red pill and waking up. And the 100 families who control our planet, they were like, fuck, what do we do? Like, we got to make money because when people wake up again, we're going to take back Earth from the 100 families. And that's when we will be taking that next step to the next level or next dimension, and that's when I feel we'll go back to the golden age.
Hell yeah, man. That's fucking crazy.
I go deep on a lot of stuff, and that's where like having me on your show, I want you to see. If you look at the last two episodes of us, and you look at this one, you watch this one, you're gonna see the growth. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not that person no more where, people call me Mega Man. That's cool. But you know what? I don't want to be stuck in the past. I want to be in the present and the future. So that's why I just say, hey man, just call me Steven. That's my thing where Mega Man favorite video game and all, but it's a cool story, but you know what? I just want to evolve. I don't want to be like die and say I just don't want to be that shoulda coulda woulda person. I just
yeah,
want to live in the moment, be in the present, the future, and create a lot of memories. Because now with the social media and the podcast, I kind of feel like it's too oversaturated and it's not fun no more. So that maybe in a way it's a good reason why I'm taking a break, because when I do come back to doing podcasts, it will be fun.
yeah,
I just don't want to be around the negativity. So to me, I want to create memories. When I do come back, I can talk about them. I can uplift our people. I can tell people like, yo, check this out. Do some research on this. I want not our people, but everyone else, even this universe, to learn something from my podcast when I do come back.
hell yeah, man. I appreciate you, Steven. Appreciate you.
It's all good. It's all good, man.
Yeah,
It's all
no, man.
good.
Like I said, I listened to the previous episodes we did. Like I said, and like I said, I enjoy it still. Even though, I took a break. Like I said, almost a year. And it's good that you're gonna take a break. Like I said, I really mean it. Like,
Yeah,
person.
I'll come back. Yeah, yeah, and you know what? When I do, I'm gonna have everything ready, and I think I'll talk about this now before we end it. Yeah, we're taking a break. My lady and I. This is. I'm gonna tell you, if you're gonna be a podcaster, you're gonna spend a lot of money, and
Yeah,
getting the roadcaster, making my place here. It's gonna be a nice little studio. Looking for new places to have guests, because you got to remember, like, you want to bring a guest on, but you don't want people to know where you live and your business and all.
yeah,
So you got to see what kind of places you can rent out to do podcasts for your guests, and the promotion, the merch, and all. The what I really want to focus on, the videos, like the StreamYard. I want to play some things and trying to see if I could try to do it all to do the editing and get two cameras where I guess if, like, let's say for example you come to my place and I have two cameras or three, they could be automatic where if you're talking, the camera already directs to you
yeah,
talking or me. And I make, and now with AI, they can make things easier just to put a video all together with three cameras, and we're just having a conversation. That's one thing I've been trying to do, because there's colleges now. If you're going to take this podcast seriously, hey, we have colleges. If you want to teach you how to do podcast communication, learn how to talk. That's one thing. And just go with the punches. Promoting like anything, but picking the right guest to come on your show. I used to be like, I'm going to get the biggest numbers and they come on and they don't even know how to fucking talk.
yeah. Because sometimes, like you said, you want to get the big fish, but sometimes the little fish is the one that gives you more, than the big fish. Because the big fish, like I said, you like you're saying, it's gonna come. He's gonna come to your podcast and just say a lot of stupid shit or whatever. Because he's the big headed motherfucker, and
Correct.
and the little fish is the one that's gonna talk about like the real shit. Like what? Because he understands. He's not up there yet, so he's gonna give you the truth. Like the real shit. Well, yeah.
So what Cindy and I we've been doing. Are you good on time still? Are we good?
Yeah, I got a couple more minutes.
Okay, we'll make it quick. Cindy and I, what we've been doing, we've been going to a lot of the cities, meeting a lot of the people, greeting them, talking, building up. I got some business in the works, and just getting to know them. And when you get to know people, you build a
Mm,
relationships, but the right people, and it takes time.
yeah.
Like for you and I, it'll be easy. But if I want to bring someone who is really big, but no one knows them, I want those types of people, because every guest that came on my show blew up. or they're doing their things on breweries and businesses. I mean, you look at the list of all the people who came on and you look at their Instagram, boom, right there. My podcast episode speaks for its word. But at the same time, I just want to have a badass, I want a cool conversation. And I just want their fucking story to be out there because their legacy is going to live on from generations to generations from their kids or anyone else listening to it. So that's what I do, man. I'm not here for the money. I just want to have a conversation, man, and get to know people instead of making assumptions.
Yeah. Oh man, like I said, I appreciate you once again, man. I mean, like I said, hopefully we could do this again, and this, like I said, it's just gonna go to the books again, like I said, because a couple of months later, a year later, I'm gonna listen to this episode, and then I'm gonna be like, you know what, let's do another one. Let's do another one.
And it's gonna be every time we do another one, the episode we're doing right now is probably gonna be another one we do. It's gonna be way different, and then that's
Yeah,
the thing. It's like when you look at the episodes, you just see the progressive. He's
yeah,
progressing, progressing. It's all about being better, man, being wiser, and we're not doing stupid shit. We're staying in our lane, and you know what? We're just fucking living life, and we're just trying to do whatever we can to inspire all the people around the world who's gonna fuck with you and fuck with me.
hell yeah, man. Oh, bueno, Steven, I appreciate you, man, and like I said, keep doing what you're doing. Like I said,
Thank
and
you.
whenever you're back, just let me know, and hopefully, like I said, I come on your show. You know,
Oh, you know what? Automatically, you're gonna come on because we're gonna have some good conversations, and it could be the same thing as this, or we're gonna go deep dive. I really want to get to understand people, not to make assumptions, but to understand who you are and what you've been through, and what made you to be the man who you are today. That's what
yeah.
I want to know. I want to be inspired by that. Be like, yo, if he can do it, I can do it. Because if you have anything that's gonna make me a better person or a better human being, I'm gonna fucking take it all fucking day.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Like I said, vice versa too, man. Like I said, I appreciate you.
I
Like I
know.
said,
Hey, you look different, man. When you're working out, oh, you look way different.
yeah,
Hold
man.
up,
Hey, I was fucking 275. I'm at fucking 210 right now. I lost fucking like 60 pounds.
bro. We gotta talk after this because I gotta bring sexy back. I
Yeah,
gotta bring sexy back, man. I get
yeah,
kind of, Mega Man, what's up with those chi chis? Like, hey, shut up. Those are called muscles. That's from love.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, man. But like I said, just like message me. Like I said, I don't know if you have my number. I'll send you my number. Like I said, whenever you can, just text me. Like it's all good, man. Like I said, you good in my book. That's
That's right. And I just want to say thank you for having me on. Everyone, follow the Long Beach Social Experiment podcast page. If you try to follow and it says, "Are you sure you want to follow that page?" Just follow it. It's a merit badge. Don't worry. They know. The government knows, like, watch this motherfucker. He's pulling some shit. Just watch him. That's why I have the FBI and I have the Mossad and certain AI elites or other people always just watching my page because I got to do what I do. I got to push out the truth for all of us to all to wake up.
it's like I put I don't know if, on the promote when I promoted. I put I'm gonna talk to Stephen Martinez. No filter shit. You should make a
Yeah,
shirt. No filter shit.
no filter. I got some stuff in the works. I got I'm making like 6 logos, but when I get everything done, I'll send you a care package because I've been saying this for years, bro. Again, podcast is expensive, but the trademark, that's one thing. But we'll talk later.
Tá, bueno. I appreciate you, man. Take care.
All right, later, everyone.